In another timeline, Son Goku would be in a hard training. Unfortunately, Vegeta would have disappeared. He would have gone to a mega festival with Bulma and his son, and Kakarot would have been alone in training. Several years had passed since Kid Buu's defeat. There were no signs of threats. However, Goku continued to train every day. It was a beautiful sunny day when suddenly a being appears, right in front of the Saiyans. "Hello, Son Goku." Quickly he gets scared by that and asks, "Hey, who the hell are you?" "It doesn't matter, Mr. Panaka, but ask yourself. I came from far away in the universe. I heard that he is the most powerful warrior in the universe. I came to face him." Goku already makes a fighting pose. He had no idea who the hell was that little guy with a weird wing. "Come on, tell me. I demand that you tell me who you are." "Go to hell, Goku. It doesn't matter who I am. It only matters to see all your broken face." That enemy then hit a punch right in Kakarot's right face, that falls, shocked, with a huge forest of giant trees. Then, out of nowhere, Goku explodes his ki and knocks everything around, and enough. Already transformed into Super Saiyans 2. Look at my face, don't take me wrong. But there are few beings in this creation that are crazy enough to try to face me. And I'll say right away, it won't be that easy. Goku moves so fast that the enemy couldn't see anymore. That's when the Saiyans appears right behind him and hits a punch right in the chest of the enemy's chest. That tries to dodge, but it is overshadowed by the intense light of the attack and ends up almost toast by the punch. It is then that the two begin to train and face each other in the air through punches and powerful blows, until the moment comes when that enemy decides to speak. "My name is Fu. My master will love to see you by his side." Goku rubbed his head and asked, "Your master? So far I have no idea who you are, boy. Take this blow to stay smart." Goku hit Fu with such a terrible punch that Fu was sent to the surface at such a high speed that when he collided with her, caused a huge crater to rise to the impact. Goku had been so precise that with just that the opponent was already practically defeated. "So, are you really going to continue this stupidity?" Fu gets up and says, "Goku, I see that the master really made a good choice in choosing you. Who would say it is not? Indeed, a low-class warrior is the most powerful warrior in the universe. Listen, it may be weird to say this, but in a few years a terribly powerful guy will appear. He has existed for many thousands of years, and now he is asleep somewhere in the universe. This being has skills so impressive that you could never dream of what he does. I need you to come with me. My superior will explain it to you better." Goku realized that maybe he would have to trust the words of that stranger. And as he saw that it was not a threat, and he didn't even get close to his level of power, Goku accepted and laughs with him. So, Fu holds on to his shoulder and two are teleported to a planet beyond strange. Goku steps on the ground and can feel pain, anguish, and suffering. All negative emotions at once. He thinks he would be falling into a loop, and suddenly he realized it was a loop. Goku then tries to use the teleport back, but then chains throw his arms and falls to the ground being chained. "What the hell is that, you idiot?" Fu look at him and say, "Well, let's say you're much stronger than me, and maybe I needed to eliminate you to continue my evil plan. Listen well. This planet will neutralize your powers, and these chains will prevent you from getting in my way. You big idiot, will stay here while I take care of your beloved universe." Fu looses big gargles and disappears from there, leaving the Saiyan alone and trapped. Goku tries to use the teleport but couldn't feel anyone's ki. He looks at the ground and sees dead plants and a place full of misfortune in the scenario. Goku regrets trusting Fu and says, "Mother son." He will see only. Desperately tries to release the big chains, but it was simply useless. Meanwhile, Fu was heading to a very different place, was returning to Earth. When he gets there, he says, "Ready! Now everything is as I want. I just need to find the poor Vegeta now. I'm going to have a lot of fun with him." If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and like the video to help our channel grow, and see you in the next video. After arresting Goku in that unknown world, the enemy arrived on Earth, and nervous, Vegeta had a bad feeling something would be wrong. A while ago he could feel Goku's ki that was in a training air, but now the ki simply would have disappeared. It seems that the miserable Kakarot got tired. A little weird for him. For sure, that crazy guy must have entered the temple room. Vegeta was at a festival with his family and did not realize that someone was watching. With laughter, Fu looks at the Prince of the Saiyans and says, "There's that miserable. If I'm not mistaken, it must be the strongest after Gohan. I will enslave them both with my magic." Fu set up a plan to get Vegeta to be alone. Fu was a very old being. For a long time he thought how he could become the strongest of the universe. For many and many years he used several ways to get stronger until he managed to get quite powerful and developed some techniques. Still, never got it. As much as he tried, he would never be able to match the levels of the Saiyans and his enemies. Being so, he became envious of them and appealed to the side of magic. When he was burning in fury in his room, he learned of an old legend that the ancients told. For a long time, the universe was a complete and absolute nothing. There was no life, nor at least habitable planets. Everything that existed were beings of good and of evil, extremely incredible beings with unthinkable powers. So after millions of years ago, the first civilizations of the universe emerged. All races on their respective planets, however, there was a war going on below and above the universe. Kurogane was a being from the lowest underworld. Long ago, he would have interfered in the natural order of things. With his immensity, he destroyed a good part of the underworld and divided it into 5. In each one, there was a subordinate of his for each division. As everything was shaken, a portal opened in the universe which released several threats to humans, such as monsters, fire-spitting dragons, and all kinds of mess. Kurogane needed to be stopped, but no one was able to fight him. When it was all over, suddenly an amazing thunder clashed the sky, and a light shone, and a person emerged, destroying the threats that the villain would have released. With human similarities, he presented himself to the enemy. "Greetings, my name is Ayame. I am the protector of life. I saw that you messed up the natural orders of things, and I came for an end to that." Kurogane got scared. He would never have seen someone who looked like a human with a power as great as it showed. As expected, Kurogane did not give up, and the warrior of light faced the monster and managed to leave the edge of death. Yami extended his sword and put an end to the existence of the villain. But when he did that, a great earthquake happened, and before he died, the Patif said, "My son will avenge my death." Saying that, the villain died and turned dust, and the warrior destroyed all the monsters, and with fear of Kurogane's words, he went to the underworld and sealed the 5 divisions with practically unbreakable seals, and Yami returned to where he came from, and no one saw him anymore. Thu was a terribly bad guy, and as he could not become the strongest in the universe, he would take control of Vegeta's mind and use the Prince of the Saiyans to break the locks of the underworld and free Kurogane's son. The plan was simple. Fu would use his magical powers to control the being, and with him by his side, Fu would be the new emperor, 1,000 times greater than FRIEZA. Meanwhile, Goku tried in some way to get out of that planet. He looks around, but sees nothing but an inhospitable place and full of darkness, until Goku looks far away and sees a temple. He realizes that in that temple there was a place for training, so he looks up and realizes that the sky of that planet was completely black. Well, but what is this? Where in the hell am I after all? The Saiyan did not know, but the perverse Fu would have locked in the black dimension, a dimension of darkness and negativity. Years would pass, and Goku would very likely go crazy, and would begin to show traces of coldness and malignity. But there was a way to get rid of it before the Saiyan became a monster. However, trying to do this could result in the total molecular destruction of his body, and Goku would be annihilated before getting out of that place.
Guys, we are a new and small channel. I ask that you subscribe and like the video to help improve our stories, texts, to create more entertainment for you and continue to reach more Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super fans around the world. Thank you, and let's go to the video.
Vegeta, I see you brought friends, I said Goomba. No wonder I couldn't find you anywhere. You had escaped from the planet. Miserable, I said Vegeta, through gritted teeth. I imagine that you are the one who is causing chaos everywhere. I said Broly. Who are you? I said Goomba. Something makes me think that you look more like me than you think. I'm not like you, I said Broly. Annoying. At that moment, Broly began to increase his ki. But something would call his attention. Goku raised his ki, but not with intention. He was escaping. It was the first time I saw that in him, and it was scary. Goku was adopting that attitude of his father to lose control. It was the first time I saw him like that. Goku, what's wrong with you? I said Broly. Goku lunged directly at Goomba without hesitation. His body vibrated with Saiyan energy, but he would barely reach the first blow when he would feel Goomba's fist impact his abdomen as if it were a hammer of pure fury. The air would escape from his lungs in a drowned scream while he was shooting back, violently colliding with the destroyed soil of planet Vegeta. Kakarot, Vegeta shouted with a frown. He had hoped that Goku would at least resist a few more moments, but Goomba's strength was much more terrifying than he had imagined. Goku got up with difficulty, his face covered in dust and sweat, trying to recover from the brutal impact. He was used to facing powerful enemies, but Goomba was different. Every blow he threw, every movement he made, he was full of pure evil and an uncontrolled aggression that he had never felt before. "That's all you have, Goku?" Goomba roared, with an arrogant smile on his face, showing his pointed fangs. "You don't even deserve to call yourself a Saiyan." However, Goku would not give up. Despite the pain, his warrior spirit burned intensely inside him. With a fierce cry, he would raise his energy. His ki was enveloping more intensely. He lunged again towards Goomba. He would try to attack with a burst of fast blows, but Goomba blocked them easily, taking Goku's arm in the middle of his attack and crashing him against the ground once again. This time, Goku could not move. "Pathetic," Goomba murmured with contempt, while he lifted Goku by the neck. The young Saiyan groaned, trying to free himself, but Goomba's grip was relentless. Just when it seemed that everything was going to end, an explosive energy would fill the air. Broly, who had so far observed the battle with growing concern, finally could not contain his fury. "I oppose," Broly shouted. The ground under Broly began to crack, while his energy increased alarmingly. His eyes, before full of confusion, now they shone with a raging anger.
The memories of his exile, of the betrayal of the Saiyans, and the fear that others had towards him. They mixed with the vision of his son being humiliated by Goomber. All that weight fell on his spirit, unleashing the latent fury that he had always feared to release. "Let him go!" Broly roared, while his body was enveloped in a storm of green and golden power. With a deafening scream, Broly launched towards Goomber with an impressive speed. His blows resounded like thunder. Goomber, surprised by Broly's ferocity, and he would barely have time to release Goku before the first blow hit him in the jaw, sending him flying backwards. Goomber lands, sinking to the ground and raising a cloud of dust. He would slowly get up, cleaning the blood from his mouth. But his smile would not disappear. On the contrary, he seemed to enjoy the situation. "So you finally decided to show me that you are capable, Broly?" Goomber said, stretching his arms as if he were preparing to enjoy the battle even more. Broly's energy continued to increase. His aura shone intensely while he lost more and more control of himself. His fury was like a volcano about to erupt, and all he saw was Goomber as the source of all his pain and suffering. Without thinking twice, Broly launched again towards Goomber, clashing with him in a frenzy of brutal blows. The two colossi would exchange blows with such force that the very ground of the beautiful planet trembled under his feet. Each fist clash created waves of clash that raised with the rocks and the landscape. However, despite the incredible strength of Broly, Goomber seemed to stay at the height, blocking the attacks with an ease that enraged Broly even more. "That's all you have?" Goomber said mockingly, while dodging another attack of Broly, and they hit him in the stomach with such force that would make him bend. "You are nothing more than an uncontrollable beast." Broly groaned with his fury, increasing to unimaginable levels. With a roar, his energy shoots even further, breaking any limit that he had known before. It would transform into its form of legendary Super Saiyan, an even more powerful version of itself, but at the same time, more dangerous. His muscles expand, and his gaze would become empty, consumed by anger. Goku, who had managed to recover a little, he observed with concern from a distance. He knew that when Broly lost control, things could get out of hand quickly. Vegeta also knew it, and although he recognized Broly's impressive strength, he knew that if they did not find a way to stop Goomber soon, the situation could become even more disastrous. "Dad, be careful!" Goku would shout, trying to make his father come back to himself. But it was useless. Broly was completely consumed by his anger. Goomber, although initially surprised
By Broly's transformation, he did not seem intimidated at all. On the contrary, his smile widened as if he were enjoying the challenge. "This is what I was waiting for, a worthy opponent," Goomber said, fascinated. With his own roar,
Goomber also releases more of his power. His dark and evil aura would envelop his body, creating a terrifying contrast with Broly's brilliant green light. The two launched each other again, but this time the battle was much more intense. Broly attacked with a huge force, but Goomber responded with a precision and cruelty that made it seem even more monstrous. Every blow that Broly managed to connect, it seemed to make Goomber retreat, but the demonic Saiyan did not stop smiling. There was something dark and sinister in his way of fighting, as if he were enjoying pain and chaos. Finally, in a quick move, Goomber catches Broly in a crushing grip, raising him above his head and crashing him against the ground with a force that would break the earth. "This is the end for you, Broly," Goomber shouted as he raised his fist, charging him with dark energy, willing to take the final blow. But in the last second, Goku appears out of nowhere. With a scream of despair, he lunged at Goomber, blocking the attack with all his strength. "I will not let you kill him," Goku shouted, pushing Goomber's fist back. "How is it possible?" Vegeta said, seeing the sudden increase in power in Goku. Goomber, surprised by the intervention, he would step back a few steps, but he did not seem worried. "You too, Goku. You will not last much longer," Goomber said furiously. Goku, jaded by the effort, he knew that Goomber was right. His forces were at the limit, but he could not let Broly fall into the hands of a monster like Goomber. Vegeta, who had been observing from a distance, he knew he could not intervene. The power of the three warriors, they left him totally out of league. "It is not possible. I feel so small in front of them," Vegeta would think with great frustration. The battle would intensify even more, with Goku and Broly, who fought together against Goomber, who seemed to enjoy every second. However, despite their best efforts, it was evident that Goomber was playing with them. His power was overwhelming, and every time they managed to connect a blow, he recovered quickly, launching even more devastating attacks. "This is useless," Vegeta murmured. "That monster is too strong. We cannot give up now," Goku shouted, with his warrior spirit shining more intensely than ever. He knew that if they fell there, not only the planet Vegeta, if not the whole universe would be in danger. At that moment, Broly, even in his state of uncontrollable fury, he would release a deafening roar. His power would increase once again, breaking any imaginable limit. Goomber, for the first time, seemed worried. "It cannot be," Goomber said, retroceding slightly. "That power!" Broly, wrapped in a pure and overflowing energy, he launched towards Goomber with an inhuman speed and strength. The two would collide once again, but this time Goomber could not block the attack, receiving it fully. Each one gave his best, while Goku took distance, realizing that he was left over in that fight. "Dad," Goku said, "no, it cannot be. If it continues like this, it will explode." Goomber seemed to have everything under control, despite the imposing wild power of Broly. With the passing of the minutes, finally Broly would show signs of fatigue. His muscles began to decay little by little, while his breathing was agitated. "I think the experiment is over," Goomber said, leaving aside his fighting posture, as if he was not more interested in fighting. Broly, out of himself and lacking reason, he would throw a great ray of energy from his mouth, but when attacking, Goomber holds him in one hand as if nothing. After this, but the ray of energy would lose thickness little by little until completely disappear. Broly would lose his transformation and fell to the ground on his knees. He had reached his limit. "That was impressive," Goomber said. "I have learned a lot from this." "Learned?" Vegeta said, confused. "Oh, Vegeta,
You know little of everything," Goomber said. "Tell me, why did you bring Broly and his son here?" "Because I always knew that you fear him. He is the only one who can defeat you," Vegeta said. Goomber began to laugh non-stop. "Poor idiot! I said I feared Broly to see who would be the idiot who would bring him to me," Goomber said. Broly yawned, trying to hold his breath, but Goomber would come to him with a kick in the stomach, something that would leave him breathless, so Broly would be unconscious. "Dad!" Goku said as he ran towards him. Out of nowhere, Goomber comes to Goku, and with a simple blow, he faints. "I don't understand," Vegeta said as he took steps back. "Vegeta, you have no idea what my origin is," Goomber said. "I was created in a laboratory from Broly. If I said I feared him, it is so they bring him to me." "No, that doesn't make any sense," Vegeta said through gritted teeth. "I need to understand Broly's power to make me stronger. Especially for that transformation," Goomber said. "Vegeta, I want you to listen to what I tell you, and that it stays engraved in your heart. You were responsible for bringing me the subject that will make me stronger." Vegeta fell on his knees by understanding that his action had harmed the planet Vegeta even more. He had only caused more problems by taking Broly. "I'm an idiot," Vegeta said. In that way, Goomber would take the three Saiyans to his castle, where they would be prisoners. He still needed more answers to be able to release all his power. What will happen now that Goku and Broly were defeated? Will Goomber be able to become stronger thanks to Broly? And even more important, what will be the fate of the planet Vegeta? All that we will know in the next part of this theory. So far this video, friends. If you want to see part 4 of this theory of Goku the son of Broly, this video has to reach 100 likes and many comments. Leave your like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That will motivate me to continue uploading videos and theories for you. See you in the next video.
Freed from the suffocating currents of dark energy, Son Goku made his way swiftly toward a temple nestled at the very heart of the planet. But something about him was different. His face, his expression, they no longer radiated the warmth and innocence that once defined him. The dark dimension had left its mark, scarring not just his body, but his very psyche. Now, for the first time, Goku was painfully aware of every detail of his past. As he reached the steps of the temple, Goku came to a sudden stop and gazed at the darkened sky. Memories surged within him, his mother's tearful eyes, the battle-worn face of his father, and their final desperate act to save their child. He had always known that FRIEZA was responsible for the destruction of planet Vegeta, but the specifics of his escape had remained a blur. Now, everything was clear. The longer he remained on that cursed planet, the more the darkness threatened to consume his mind. Desperately searching for a way out, he turned his head in all directions. A raging storm brewed on the horizon. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Fu had already begun manipulating Vegeta, invading his mind and bending his will. With calculated precision, Fu sent Vegeta back home, compelling him to act as if nothing were amiss. The villain then rummaged through ancient texts, seeking a forgotten spell that could open a portal to the underworld, a realm where Kurogane's son was imprisoned. With a sinister grin, Fu uttered the enchantment. A glowing blue portal appeared, and beyond it lurked terrifying creatures of the dark. Without hesitation, Fu and Vegeta crossed into the underworld. The moment they stepped through, the portal slammed shut behind them. Before them stretched a white stone path leading downward into a dim abyss. They descended slowly, fully aware that the guardian of that realm could appear at any moment. Vegeta felt a strange heaviness in his chest, as if he were being pulled deeper into a conflict that didn't belong to him. Back in the dark dimension, Goku took refuge under the temple's roof as violent winds whipped the planet. Black storm clouds swallowed the sky, while bolts of lightning tore across the heavens. Rain was imminent. He watched from the doorway, aware that the storm was nothing compared to the chaos inside him. His thoughts wavered between light and shadow. Corrupted by the dark dimension, he teetered on the edge of becoming a malevolent force. But deep inside, he still clung to hope. He would fight it. Determined, he stepped deeper into the temple and entered a mysterious chamber. Its walls were covered with astonishing, hyper-realistic artwork. He stood in awe, tracing the ancient murals that recounted the legends of brave warriors who once saved all of creation. One particular image stopped him cold. A majestic figure with wings, burning eyes, and battle-worn armor. Beneath the painting, a single inscription read, "Niyami, the warrior of light who vanquished Kurogane and restored the balance of the universe." A chill crept down Goku's spine. He had never seen anyone so awe-inspiring. As he reached out and touched the wall, the artwork began to glow and shift. Suddenly, the battle between Niyami and Kurogane played out before him in vivid animation. He witnessed the monstrous chaos wrought by Kurogane, a being who sought to crown himself emperor by unraveling the universe's order. But Niyami appeared like divine judgment, extinguishing the darkness with unmatched fury. From this, Goku learned of the 5 underworlds, realms of torment, and of Kurogane's son, who now plotted revenge. The weight of this truth pressed heavily on his chest. He now understood that his arrival here was not by chance. He had been brought to this place for a reason. The vision faded. Goku stood breathless. Moving forward, he discovered another door that led to a room illuminated by a radiant black sphere. Its light pulsed with hypnotic intensity. Looking up, he noticed another tale etched into the ceiling. This one bore a warning. Whoever touched the sphere would be engulfed by immense power, but only after enduring a trial of suffering. His stomach ground. He hadn't eaten or drank anything in days. He hesitated, but survival demanded action. With a shaking hand, Goku touched the sphere. Instantly, the storm outside intensified. Winds surged past 1,000 kilometers per hour, ripping the temple roof apart. He barely had time to react before the sphere began to pull him in. He struggled with every ounce of strength he had, but it was no use. The gravitational force overwhelmed him, lifting him into the air. A blinding lightning bolt struck him directly in the head, illuminating the entire temple for a split second. Still suspended in the air, his body convulsed violently. Another bolt hit him squarely in the chest. Then, almost rhythmically, bolts struck both arms and legs, anchoring him mid-air in a cross-like position. Energy coursed through him, wild and unfamiliar. It was unlike any pain he had ever experienced. The dark dimension was trying to reshape him into something new, something terrifying. His screams echoed through the vast emptiness, but no one answered. No help came. He was alone in this trial, lost in an endless storm of agony and transformation. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, The lightning ceased. Goku collapsed onto the ground, motionless. The sphere had vanished. His body steamed, smoldering with dark energy, yet his eyes opened with renewed clarity. Whatever had happened, he had survived, but he was no longer the same. As he stood, he looked at his hands, now glowing faintly with a mixture of black and white energy. The power of the sphere hadn't corrupted him, it had awakened something dormant. He could feel both darkness and light swirling within him. A balance, perhaps, or a warning. With slow steps, he made his way out of the ruined temple. The storm had passed, but the sky remained purple and unsettled. Goku understood his path wasn't over. He would have to descend into the 5 underworlds, confront Kurogane's son, and end the threat once and for all. And he would do it not just as a Saiyan, but as the warrior fate had chosen to walk the line between darkness and light.
Claiming for help, Goku was in pain. He managed to get out of the prison planet, but now he was in an even worse place. The chains were completely full of negative ki, and poor Saiyan did not know if he would survive that torture for a long time. Goku was desperate and cannot stand the pressure, so he faints and is unconscious. Meanwhile, Vegeta and Tefu arrived at the first underworld and saw a white path, which was like a ladder going down to a black place and full of flames. The two walked along the path and thus arrived at a place with an iron gate, and it was written on it, "Behind this door are the most powerful Guardians warriors who have ever existed in this universe. Do not cross this door. Otherwise, you will be killed and will serve as an example for others who want to reach the end of this path." Tefu laughed and hurriedly sent Vegeta to knock down the gate. He wanted the party to start soon. Vegeta knocked down the gate with devastating force, and that huge structure fell, causing an intense sound everywhere. They see that after the gate was the second underworld. Fu then wondered why Rios would not have a guardian in the first underworld. It is then that a being appears in front of them, already saying, "We do not need that insect. I am able to take care of the 2 underworlds alone." Fu already realizes that they were in front of a guardian. At first glance, he is scared by that, but soon the astonishment passes and he remarked, "Very well, Big Lion, let's make it simple for you. You get out of our way and let us continue our journey, or we turn you into a pancake. My friend here will crush you." That being did not show any reaction and coldly returned to speak. "Go away, mortals. I do not know how they managed to get here, but it is better to return." Fu orders Vegeta to knock down the Guardian, and Saiyan leaves at high speed against him. But that being simply made the prince stand still in the air, unable to move. "My name is Tadayoshi. I am the controlled justice, and you just passed over my corpse." Tadayoshi makes Vegeta lose his strength and gets extremely tired. He increased the gravity in Saiyan's body and suddenly became slow. Fu did not believe what he saw, so he screams for the subordinate to face the opponent with all his strength. Otherwise, it would make Bulma and her son never see the light of day again. By the control of magic, Vegeta transforms into a Super Saiyan Phase 2 and hits a devastating punch in the Guardian's face and knocks down the opponent by sending him to meters away. Tadayoshi gets up, already cleaning his mouth, and remarked, "Do you want to fight? So that's what I'm going to give you." The Guardian raises his ki, making the whole underworld tremble and warm, making that place a smoking cauldron. He, showing all his strength, says, "I will never allow 2 insects like you to pass through here. I will make you regret the day you were born." Tadayoshi and Vegeta begin to fight in an intense exchange of punches and powerful blows that tremble more and more that underworld. It was so much power that the third Guardian can feel that incredible power and was already preparing for a possible battle against an unknown enemy. Vegeta hit Tadayoshi with a blow, making him on his knees, but heroically, the Guardian uses a perfect technique, the splendor of light. Tadayoshi exploded his ki, and an intense light overshadowed everyone who was there. It is then that the monsters who were sleeping in the dark woke up and went all over the intruders. Fu yelled out loud when he saw dragons and monsters the size of buildings going over him. He quickly orders Vegeta to protect him, so the prince left the fight against Tadayoshi and went to save his master. Quickly, the Saiyan pulled a sword made with his own ki and cut many dragons in the middle. Then the Guardian took advantage of the confusion to plot something against the 2 intruders. Meanwhile, Goku remained unconscious, and the chains filled his body with negativity. It was a miracle to still be alive, but Goku was already trying to let go. He would have fallen and was unconscious. The Saiyan then lived a reality within his own mind, where he meets a mysterious person. Goku looked at the silhouette and saw that even the hair was the same as his. Then he approached and touched the shoulder of the stranger. The man looked back and remarked, "Kakarot, finally you found me."